$1,435. That is the disability check a 60% veteran is owed every month in 2026. Now picture opening your account on payday and finding nothing there. Not a mistake, not a freeze, not an error you can call in and fix. The Department of Veterans Affairs took the whole thing on purpose, and there is one move buried in the law that decides whether you ever get $1 of it back.
Hi everyone, Erica here. The word for what just happened is recoupment, and it is the exact opposite of every back pay story we usually tell. Back pay is money the VA owes you. Recoupment is money the VA quietly takes back.
Today we go one level deeper than the panic. We are going to show you precisely how recoupment is calculated, the one group it cannot touch, and the 3 levers that change the number.
Hey, this is Liam, and here is the part that gets me. My read is most veterans never connect the two events. You take a separation payout when you leave, you move on with your life, and then 10 or 20 years later, a rating comes through and the check just disappears.
I'm Maya, and that is the part that makes me angry. A family budgets around that check. They counted on it. And the trigger is a payment from a different decade that nobody ever flagged as a future bill.
And the rate matters, so let us anchor it. The current table on va.gov, effective December 1st of 2025, pays a single veteran at 60% $1,435.02 a month. At 100%, it is $3,938.58.
Hold those numbers because the whole check is what gets withheld. That there are 3 levers, and by the end you will know which ones you can pull. Maya, before I open the floor, you flagged something from the comments.
Yes, and it is the question under every video on this topic. Someone wrote in asking, the VA is taking my entire disability check to repay separation pay from years ago. Is that even legal, and can I stop it?
Let me introduce a real-shaped example so the math has a face. Picture Marcus Reyes, an Army Staff Sergeant who took an involuntary separation payout of $44,000 in 2010, then got a 60% rating in 2025. The first instinct everyone has is that the VA will claw back the full $44,000. That instinct is wrong, and the gap is worth real money.
After tax is the whole game here. My read is the VA only recoups what actually landed in his bank account, not the headline number on the orders.
That is exactly it, and the rule is written down. Straight from the regulation, the VA recoups an amount equal to the total separation pay less the federal income tax withheld from it. So we walk the real number, not the gross. Start with the headline, $44,000 gross on the separation orders.
Then the tax comes off the top, the part he never touched. Federal withholding took roughly $14,000 of it before he ever saw a cent.
So the figure the VA actually recoups is about $30,000, not $44,000. That is $14,000 of difference, and it is the single most common thing veterans get wrong about this.
And one note that protects people. The exact tax figure depends on the year and how the payment was withheld, so the takeaway is the principle, not my round number. Pull your own separation orders and your withholding to get the real after-tax amount.
There is a fairness logic underneath this that I actually respect. You already paid tax on that money once. Making the VA recoup only what you truly received means the government is not double counting dollars that went straight to the IRS and never landed in your pocket.
And the after-tax rule has a date attached, which matters for older veterans. For separation pay received after September 30th, 1996, the VA recoups the after-tax amount. Payments before that date were treated more harshly, so the year you got paid changes the arithmetic.
Good guardrail, and good history. Now Liam, you have been sitting on a question since the cold open. Take the floor.
I have, because the timing bothers me. If the VA only recoups the after-tax amount, why does it take the entire monthly check instead of a small slice each month?
Because the law lets it. The VA withholds your full monthly compensation until that after-tax balance is cleared, so a $30,000 balance against a $1,400 check means roughly 21 months of zero. It is faster for them and brutal for the household.
Before we keep going, one small favor that actually moves the needle. If this is landing for you, tap like, then subscribe and turn on the bell so you do not miss the rest. 2 taps, completely free, and it pushes this in front of more people who need it.
Here is the cruelest twist in this whole system, and it hangs on a single word. Veterans hear that the VA is taking money, and they think, fine, I will file a waiver, the way you do with a VA debt. You see a withheld check, you remember a buddy who got a debt forgiven, and you assume the same door is open to you. It is not, and the reason is technical and merciless.
Recoupment is not classified as a debt. Straight from the recoupment guidance, because it is not technically a debt, it cannot be waived. That one classification closes the door most people are running toward.
Let me draw the contrast clean, because this is where people lose money to a wrong assumption. An overpayment is a debt. The VA paid you too much, that creates a debt, and a debt can go to the Committee on Waivers and Compromises, which can forgive it if collecting would be unfair. Recoupment never enters that building.
So the worst thing a veteran can do is burn months filing a waiver request that was never going to apply. My read is that energy should go somewhere that actually moves the number.
Which is the honest pivot. There is one adjustment available, and we have to be precise about what it does. If recoupment is causing extreme financial hardship, you can ask the VA to adjust the recoupment rate.
But hear the difference, because it matters for a family. Adjusting the rate slows the bleed. Instead of the whole check vanishing, a smaller slice comes out and the recoupment stretches over more months. The total you owe does not shrink by $1.
And the VA is not required to grant it. So the rate adjustment is a real tool for cash flow, but it is not relief from the balance. Calling it a waiver in your own head is the mistake that sets you up for the wrong fight.
Maya, you pulled a sharp one off the comments on this exact point. Go ahead and put it to the room.
Yes, and it is the one everybody asks once they hear the word. If recoupment can never be waived, is there literally any situation where the VA does not take the money at all? And I will answer my own question, because the comments deserve a straight reply. Yes, there is exactly one situation, and it is big enough that we are giving it the whole next segment.
Now we hit the one true escape hatch, and it is worth a real debate, because veterans pour months into chasing it. There is a combat exemption that can erase recoupment of disability severance pay entirely. The fight is over how hard you should chase it. Erica, set the terms.
Here is the law, clean. Under Section 1212 of Title 10, if you separated under Chapter 61 on or after January 28, 2008, and the disability was incurred in a combat zone or in combat-related operations, the VA makes no deduction. No recoupment at all, that is the prize. But I am the cold water voice on this. There are 2 hard gates. The date gate eliminates everyone separated before January 28, 2008, and it only covers disability severance pay, not ordinary involuntary separation pay.
So your bottom line for the viewer is what, exactly?
Plan around the check and treat the exemption as a bonus only if it actually lands. Hope is not a financial plan.
And I am going to push back, because that framing makes people quit early. The detail that changes everything is who decides. The Department of Defense decides whether the disability was combat-related, not the VA, and that determination is usually written right in your severance decision letter. So before anyone accepts a vanished check, pull that letter. If the Defense Department already flagged it combat-related and you separated in the window, the VA is barred from recouping the severance. That is not a long shot. That is reading a document you already own.
Erica, that is a fair hit. Before you answer, push on the one thing she just said. Is the decision letter really sitting in most of these veterans' hands?
It moves me partway, and I will concede the sharper version. Maya is right that the cheap, fast first step is reading that decision letter, and I should lead with that, not with the long shot warning. Where I hold firm is the date and the pay type gates. If you separated in 2005 or it was plain separation pay instead of disability severance, no letter saves you. The exemption is closed.
Then let me referee it into one map, because the viewer situation decides this. Maya, am I reading your side right, that there are really 3 forks here, and only one is the jackpot?
Exactly 3. Separated before 2008, the exemption is closed. Separated after, but it was plain separation pay, also closed. Separated after with combat-related disability severance, you are exempt, and the recoupment should not exist.
So here is where the panel lands, and it is a sourced verdict, not a vibe. The combat exemption is real, and it is total. But Section 1212 gates it to Chapter 61 disability severance, combat-related, separated on or after January 28, 2008. So everyone pulls the defense decision letter first, because it is free, and the Defense Department made the call. So if you fall outside the date or the pay type, the exemption will not save you, and your fight moves to the levers we cover next.
Agreed, with one push. Reading the letter costs you nothing and could erase the whole thing. Do that before you accept a single withheld dollar.
Agreed. Free first step for everyone, honest expectations after. That is the right order.
There is one more layer that trips people up, and it is the question of who is actually reaching into your money. It is not always the same agency, and that split can cause a real billing mess for a family.
A viewer asked whether the VA and the defense pay system can both come after the same payout. That is a sharp enough question that we called in someone who knows this offset cold.
And it is the right call, because the agency split is exactly where I get confused. My read is the VA does the recoupment, but I am genuinely not sure that is true for every type of payout.
Happy to help, and your instinct is half right, which is the dangerous half. For most separation benefits, the VA does the recouping out of your disability compensation, separation pay, non-disability severance, the special separation benefit, readjustment pay, those run through the VA. But the voluntary separation incentive, the VSI, is different. The VA is not responsible for recouping that one. That recovery is the Defense Department's job through its pay system, and it is collected on the military side.
So why does that split matter to a real family sitting at the kitchen table?
Because 2 agencies recovering for the same service can double dip if nobody is watching. There are coordination rules meant to prevent collecting the same amount twice, but they depend on the agencies talking to each other. If you see your money getting hit from 2 directions for one payout, that is your flag to stop and document everything.
If a veteran is staring at a withheld check right now, what is the one move you would tell them to make first?
Get the balance in writing. Make the agency tell you the exact after-tax amount being recouped and how many months it covers. You cannot plan around a number nobody will say out loud, and you cannot catch a double collection error if you never had the figure to begin with.
That is the practical core of it. Know which agency is collecting, demand the written balance, and watch the seam between them. Thank you for phoning in.
Anytime. One last thing, and it matters. None of this is a reason to skip filing your claim. The rating is worth far more than the temporary withhold, so get the rating, then manage the recoupment.
Well said. Stick with us, because next we put the whole game plan on one slide. Let us put the whole thing on one slide, because a clear plan beats a panicked one. Recoupment feels like the system reaching into your check, but you are not powerless. There are exactly 3 levers, and you can act on all 3.
Lever 1, the after-tax basis. The VA recoups what you actually received, total pay less the tax withheld, not the gross on your orders. Pull your separation documents and confirm the real figure, because the gap is often thousands of dollars.
Lever 2, the combat exemption, and this is the free swing. Pull your DoD severance decision letter. If you separated on or after January 28, 2008, under Chapter 61, and the disability is combat-related, the recoupment should not exist at all.
Lever 3, the rate adjustment. If the full withhold is crushing the household, ask the VA to adjust the recoupment rate for hardship. My read on the honest limit. It slows the bleed, it does not erase the balance, and they are not required to say yes.
And the one anti-waiver, the trap. Do not sit and wait on a waiver, because recoupment is not a debt and cannot be waived. Every month you spend chasing the wrong remedy is a month the wrong door stays shut.
Here is my verdict, plainly. The combat exemption is the only thing that erases recoupment, so check it first, today, with the letter you already have. If it does not apply, accept that the money is coming back to the VA, use the after-tax basis to make sure the figure is correct, and use the rate adjustment to protect your monthly budget. That is the realistic win.
And the part I will not let anyone miss. Do not let the fear of a temporary withhold stop you from filing. The rating is permanent value. The recoupment is a season, not a sentence.
There is one piece even the law cannot settle for you, and I want to hand it to the room. Congress has a bill, the Restore Veterans Compensation Act of 2026, that would end this recoupment, but it is stuck in subcommittee, so today the law still takes the money.
So here is the one we cannot answer for you. If you have lived through recoupment, was the rate adjustment worth requesting, or did it just stretch the pain over more months? Quick recap before we close. Recoupment is the VA pulling back an old separation payout. It is calculated on the after-tax amount you actually received, and the combat exemption is the only thing that erases it. Coming up next, we get into the earlier effective date and the back pay that runs the other direction, money the VA owes you.
My one takeaway, the word waiver is the trap. Recoupment cannot be waived, so spend your energy on the after-tax figure and the combat letter instead.
What stuck with me is that the answer was sitting in a document people already own. The DoD decision letter could erase the whole thing, and most veterans never open it.
And for me, file anyway. A temporary withhold is scary, but the rating is permanent. Do not let recoupment talk you out of money you earned. If this helped, subscribe and we will keep building this VA library with you.
Quickly, before we wrap, a small ask that actually matters. If this earned it, tap like and hit subscribe. Every one of those helps build the series so more people who need this can find it. Every move creates a new board. Read it before you move again.
9. Grace. You had the pacing I usually strive for. I am taking notes for my next one. This is Professor Erica. Thanks for watching and signing off.